Okay, so now that I have my first artboard set up with the background just by adding a rectangle shape, and I locked that. Next, I'm going to add my text. So in the last video, we made a layer, a new layer for the text. So now we'll add the text to that. We're going to go up to the T because we're just using one word and we want to be able to rearrange it. And we don't need a body of text unless maybe that's part of what you're doing, then you could do it differently. But if you're just using a word, then just click down and go ahead and type in whatever word you're using. All right, then we're going to highlight it and you're going to choose the text that you want to use. So choose something that's going to convey the idea of what you want to show. Okay, so I chose Peyton 1 because I'm trying to show with the cloud like something kind of big and I want it to look fluffy. So now that I have this, I'm going to click on it. So when I was first clicking on it, it was just keeping a cursor there. So I just clicked off of it and then back on, and then I can get to where I can resize it. So I can go here and I can click and drag and resize it, or I can go, or actually that's the best way because I think if you do it where you pull on the edge, yep, it just expands that artboard area or the text area. So I'm over on the right side under appearance and I'm just clicking and dragging to change that size with the points. I want to make it nice and big. And then I'm going to move it around here. And then I'm going to start by making sure this looks good, the size that I want, or getting it set up as close as I can before I move on to the next step of creating a path or converting it to a path. So you won't be able to change your type of text once you convert it to a path, but you will be able to start to manipulate the text and get it looking how you want. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna just make it slightly bigger because I really want to use that artboard space. Okay, and then from here, to start changing it, we're gonna click on the top and go convert path. So now what happens is when I come over to the pointer tool, I'm gonna choose the sub-select. That's gonna give me all these individual paths. So it's all of these paths that I can start to change and rework this. Now to give really this big puffy cloud feel, I don't want my corners to be pointed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on the corners that I want to change. So I'm going to start with just the letter D right now. And I'm holding shift as I go around. If I just click on one, it will just put a blue color, fill color in there. And that means just that one selected. If I go to a different one, it's going to select a different one. So if I hold shift, I can select more than one at a time. And then now that I have this, it automatically brings up the appearance of the joint, what that looks like. So I can just click mirror. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I should be able to curve the corner. Ooh. So I'm just kind of playing with some of these tools as well. So now that I have my corners selected, here's what we have to do. This is different than a shape. So once we have a path, we don't have that little red dot in the corner where we can click it and drag it like we would with a shape. So I'll show you that really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So if we click and drag on the shape, and then use the selection tool, sub-select, we automatically get that red dot that's going to curve the corner. All right, that doesn't happen when we're in our convert to path tool. So what we'll do, I'll select this once again, is we can go over to corner. Now, if I click on this and drag 0.5, that curves it a lot. And maybe that's okay for what you're doing, but what you can do if that's too much, like it is in my case, I'm going to start with 0.1. Press enter, and then if I click off, that's a pretty good curve, okay? I just did a Control Z and I undid that. And so now I'm going to try a 0.2. Press enter, and that curves it pretty well. And then now I get these little red dots showing up, and I can actually modify the curve with those dots that show up now. Boom, I've got a nice curve line here. Then I'm going to start thinking about other things I want to modify. It really kind of bothers me where this O is placed, so I should be able to click on all these points. I want to hold shift. It's not bringing up the blue for me, so I'm questioning what might be happening here. But I should be able to move this. That's not what I wanted. That was just shifting the space. So I might have to redo this. I might have to fill this all with black. And if that's the case, I could click on these. And I should be able to delete each of these anchor points. This is kind of acting funny. So sometimes Gravit Designer doesn't always work exactly how we want it to. And that's a good spot to like close and reopen. But what I could do is delete all those points and then add my own circle where I want it to. Because once I delete those points, it should just be black. Add my own circle to this and then where I want it to align, and then do my do the Pathfinder, which it won't right now because I don't have another one up, and cookie cutter it out. Okay, let's do the subtract. So I'm going to stop here and we're going to save. So you want to make sure I save it to the cloud so that you always have it backed up there. So my cloud, I'm right here. And then down at the bottom, it has the untitled. You're going to name it Project 4 P4 Word as image, and then you're welcome to add what your word is just because it might be easier to follow along, and save.